Welcome to the second video on solving equations. So in this one we'll take a look at a few more complex examples and explore how to solve equations. Alright, so let's start with an example, right? So example, solve 2x, let's make it 3x, minus 2x plus 5 equals to 6. So the basic idea when you have an equation is to simplify each side and then use the addition and multiplication properties to solve. So in this problem, let's go ahead and simplify the left side. Now when you're doing these equations, be mindful of making sure to write all the parts down. So what I mean is, even though you're working on the left side, make sure that you include the 6, the equal and the 6. So over here we're going to distribute the 2 using the distributive property. So negative times a positive is negative, 2 times 5 is 10. And I'm going to simplify the left hand side as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to combine my like terms right there, and I get x minus 10 equals to 6. Now the simplification stage is done. Next up is the use of the properties to solve this equation. So I'm going to, in this problem, all we have to do is use the addition property. So I'm going to add 10 to the left and add 10 to the right, and then get myself x equals 16. There is my answer. Now, one thing I should mention is that we can always check if we did the problem right. So can always check your answer. And how do you check your answer? Well, you take the original equation. It's got to always be the original equation, the first one. And then you substitute 16 in. And remember now, when you substitute 16, use parentheses when you put a number in for a variable. So 16, and then use the order of operations to solve this. So first I'm going to work inside here, the group. So 16 plus 5, that's 21. And now I'm going to do multiplications. I have a choice of 2 multiplications. I'm going to work it from left to right. 3 times 16, that's 48, minus 2 times 21, that's going to be 42, and equals to 6. And 48 minus 42 is indeed 6. 6 equals 6. Since the two sides are equal, this means x equals 16 is indeed correct. Now, by chance, if the two sides had turned out to be not equal, then you know you might have made a mistake when you're solving. It's also possible you made a mistake when you're checking, so you got to check your check. But it's also completely possible that you got something wrong. So check all your work, right? So it's very easy to check to see if you got something right. All right, So let's take a look at a second example. This time we'll look at something that is slightly more complex, something that has variables on both sides. So for example, let's say we had something like this. So example, solve, and we had minus 3 2x minus 5 plus 5 equals to 3x plus 13. So now we've got variables on both sides. So it's no big deal. You still want to start off by simplifying both sides of the equation, right? So you want to simplify both sides sort of on their own. Okay, so in this case we are going to distribute minus 3 times 2x minus 3 times 5 plus 5. And on the right side, nothing much to do, but I have to keep writing it. So over here, 3 times 2 is 6, negative times positive is negative. Over here, 3 times 5 is 15, and I see subtract a negative, that's going to be positive, plus 5 equals to 3x plus 13. And now combine like terms, 20 equals to 3x plus 13. So at this point, both sides are simplified as far as they are going to go. So the next thing you want to do, if you simplify them, is you really want to get your variables to one side. Now it does not matter which side, but you want to get your variables to one side. So in this case, I'm going to get my variables all to the left side. So to get my variables to the left side, I'm going to subtract a 3x from the right. So it's the same idea using the addition property. If I do something to the one side and do the same exact thing to the other side, then the solution is unchanged. So since I subtracted 3x from the right, I'm going to subtract 3x from the left, and then on the left side I get minus 9x plus 20 equals to 13. And once you've gotten there, you can see that what you have to do is use the properties to solve. So that's now what I'm going to do. So I'm going to first subtract a 20, and I get 9x equals to negative 7, and then I'm going to divide by negative 9 and get my answer. X equals, now simplify this, don't leave it like this, negative over negative is positive 7/9. That's it. Alright. And well, actually I'll leave that next part for another video. Okay, so these are two simple equations, and so coming up we'll keep looking at more complex solving scenarios and explore some other situations that could happen.